Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Watch Pals. My name is Chris, and this week we're going to be covering the 1985 film Return to Oz. But first, I want to introduce the panel of pals, my best friends, your best friends, greatest guys I know. And first, I want to say hello to Brian. Brian, welcome to the show.
Hi, Chris. How are you this evening?
I'm great.
Although people don't really know it's evening. It could be morning. It could be any time of day. You could be listening to this at any point. Please listen to this 24 hours a day.
On repeat. Yes, thank you. That would really help us out. And next, I want to say hello to Jeff. Jeff, thank you for being here.
Hey. That's my thing.
Too bad. He did me first this week. Suck it.
Well, thank you for that. And Jordan is here. Jordan, how are you doing today?
Pretty good.
Couldn't hear it.
We did not hear that.
Didn't hear it. The silent crack.
Do the sound with your mouth. He was trying to put a can crack into the mic.
Crack.
Thank you.
There you go. I'll just edit in later. Anyway, welcome to the show. And this week, Jordan's going to be steering the ship. Before we do that, I want to do another segment of Get to Know Your Pals. And this week, I want to know, what is your favorite color? Brian, what is your favorite color?
Oh, man. Orange.
Ooh.
Orange.
It's very bright and it's very tasty.
Tasty? It's like orange pop?
Orange pop, orange popsicles.
Oh, okay.
What about oranges themselves?
Oranges are great. Cut them up.
What about orange runts?
Oh, great.
Yes, the best of the runs.
Really?
Can you name a bad orange? Is there a bad orange thing?
Like a rotten one, maybe.
Or like an unripened one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Like
I guess.
a little baby orange, maybe.
Even those little orange chocolate
Those are
things
delicious.
are good. They're great.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't
just
know.
orange.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
What?
He can't eat it.
All right. Jeff, what's your favorite color?
Green.
Green. Oh, that's a good one.
Green.
It's the best color.
What type of green? Just normal green, or are we talking like a forest green?
A forest green's good. I mean, just like a traditional.
He likes
Like,
the
the RGB,
Irish
the G.
Kelly green.
The Irish green.
I mean, I'm Irish, yes, but I'm only a fourth.
A fast digestive green.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means.
Think about
What are
it.
you talking about?
It comes out.
Jordan, what is your favorite color?
Green.
Yeah, I got him twice this week already. Suck at again.
But
Really?
you guys
Green?
you remember my last car?
Oh,
That I had
yeah.
forever?
That was like a lime green, right?
Yeah, it was a lighter green.
Like a pistachio.
And my second favorite color is actually orange. That's kind of weird.
Whoa.
Oh, you really like Ireland.
The Polish guy really likes Ireland.
This breaking news.
Likes Ireland.
Whoa, that's a slur.
I can say it.
Oh, okay. I mean, me too.
We might have to look into that.
We might edit that one out. But anyway,
Hey, wash your well, let's go.
my
my
favorite
gosh.
color is blue.
What kind of blue?
We didn't ask what color you like.
We don't
Chris.
want to know your color.
Aw.
No. Is it a royal blue?
It's like a blue, just a normal blue. Not like a sky blue, just like a deep blue.
What's
maybe.
a normal blue?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Like what you're wearing right now?
What's a normal blue?
This is green.
Oh, I can't tell.
Oh wait, no, there's light blue in there. You're right.
Oh boy.
All right. Anyway, this week we're gonna get into talk about.
We found out Chris is colorblind. He actually likes green.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Triple green tonight.
I'm like,
Triple
wait,
green.
wait a second. You're not telling me that's blue? Anyway, this week we're talking about Return to Oz, Walt Disney's Return to Oz, and I want to ask everybody before we get started, before I turn this ship over to Jordan, I want to know, going into this movie, first off, who's seen it before? Who of us have seen it before? Anybody?
I have.
I've barely seen it.
I have not.
I've seen wisps of this in my childhood. That's about it.
I've never seen it, although I did read the book like a couple years ago. There's a graphic novel of it, which I didn't even know it was a movie. So, but
Most people didn't. Most people not even know this movie was even made.
Yeah.
did you know about this before we watched it for the show?
Yes, I've seen this movie a bunch as a kid.
Really?
Yeah, and then I rewatched it within the last 10 years because Kelly, my partner's never seen it, so we watched it together.
It's interesting you say that because I was saying to Jeff today that because I saw so little of this as a child, I could not find this on video. I don't know how you found this or watched this so much.
Yeah.
Unless it was recorded.
We might. Yeah, I can't remember how I watched it, but like I actually was talking about this with my sister because I was telling her that we're doing this. She's like, "What movies are you doing?" And I mentioned, eventually want to do Return to Oz, and she like lost her mind because she's like, "Oh, she's like, remember that scene? Remember this scene? Remember that scene?" Yeah, I don't know how we watched it. I'm assuming you rented it, but I don't know, maybe not.
I have the graphic novel by Scotty Young. It's really awesome, and it's the exact. And I was like watching the movie, I was like, oh, it's the exact same thing. So obviously, but so I knew a lot of the plot and everything. But there's one very specific thing they don't explain, which I'll get into later. And I want to say that I've never seen it, and I wouldn't even know it existed as a movie. So, what did you guys think before we get into the recap? Jeff, what did you think going into this? What were you prepared for? What did you think you were going to see? That type of stuff.
I heard it was really like weird. So I wasn't sure what to expect because it's, Wizard of Oz, the original, is such a timeless classic that it's like, oh man, this must have just been terrible for no one to even speak of it, right? Like no one spoke of it really. So I was expecting a stinky stinker of a movie.
Stinky pinkies.
Yeah.
Brian, what were you expecting?
I heard that this was a dark fantasy kind of film, and really, we just watched Willow not too long ago, so it wasn't like, I mean, it's in the same kind of vein, maybe not, Willow is a little darker, but it has that 80s children's fantasy film that you just don't see anymore. It has a feel to it where they go a little darker than probably they would nowadays.
I was expecting to see, I was like, oh God, we're about to ruin my childhood of like the childhood Wizard of Oz type of thing, even though that was kind of weird when you go back and watch it. It was still kind of creepy in some ways, but I was expecting something like that going into this because I've never heard of it. I didn't even know what it was like. It was actually Walt Disney made it. So I was expecting something just completely awful since I'd never heard of it. But since it was a Walt Disney film. But Jordan, do you remember your first time seeing it? What you thought as a small wee child?
I don't remember my first time seeing it, but I do know that like there's certain parts I had a hard time getting through as a kid because there's very, very like dark, disturbing things to watch as a child in this, like certain scenes. So I think it might have been one of those things that like I only saw it in parts as a kid. And it wasn't until I think recently, well, in the past 10 years, I actually probably finished it like all the way through from start to finish, all the way through for the first time recently. So
I was not expecting a whole bunch since I never heard of it. And even though Walt Disney made it, so I was very surprised, but let's get into the movie. Let's get into the recap. So Jordan, I'm going to turn it over to you. You tell us all about Dorothy Gale, which I didn't even know that was her last name. Was that established? I don't know. Anyway, and her whole experience returning to Oz.
So I just kind of want to give a little bit of background. Chris, you'd mentioned this came out in 1985, and Brian, you mentioned it's very much an 80s movie.
Yeah.
And we'll get into, there's a certain scene I'm like, oh, this is totally the 80s. But this is an unofficial sequel to the original Wizard of Oz, because MGM had the rights originally to the first movie, which I'm assuming everyone saw. It's Wizard of Oz. I think everyone saw that movie.
It's a classic, yeah.
It uses, but Disney got the rights because I think it's based off a series of books. There's like 34 books. This movie's based off the second and third book, whereas the first movie's based off the first book. Apparently, this movie's more truthful to the content of the books, but the director decided to make it a little bit darker. I guess the books are pretty dark too.
For books that were written in like what, the 50s or something?
1900s. The first one came out in 1900,
okay.
yeah, which just takes place like 2 months before the year 1900, which I mentioned in the movie.
Okay.
Ironically, though, it's known that this movie, like, it flopped. I think its budget was like, hold on, let me look at this real quick.
$28 million.
Yeah, it was like 28 million to make, but it only made 11 million. But the original Wizard of Oz was a flop as well, which I never knew that.
I never knew that either. That's crazy.
What was a flop in the 50s though for a movie? Like $10? Like
$10.
Well, it came out in 19.
It came out in returns.
Yeah, it came out in 1939. But I'm assuming that's because it might not have done well because that's during the Great Depression.
Oh.
Ending near the Great Depression. And also like the whole Dust Bowl thing was happening. So people didn't have a lot of money to go see movies at this point. So I'm assuming.
Plus, there wasn't a lot of movie theaters around, right?
No, probably not.
I mean, you have to go into the big city to see it, and then like.
But then that at least with that movie, it caught wind because like at Technicolor, it was never used before. For that time, it was like this crazy invention. So I think through word of mouth, people were like, "Oh my god, this movie! Like you have to go see this movie." Whereas this one, not so much. It has a cult following, and like I said, like a lot of people claim it's more truthful to the source material, especially the way the character design is done in this movie.
Yeah.
And I looked up, like I was like, as a kid, I was like, that's not the Tin Man. Tin Man doesn't look like that, but it gets exactly how he looks in the books. Apparently, like that weird kind of gangly looking thing.
They were going more for like a puppeteer kind of look in this movie for a lot of the characters.
And speaking of which, like Jim Henson, I don't know if he was directly involved with this, but his company was involved with this. So like they did a lot of the puppet design. His son did a voice for one of his son,
Pumpkinhead.
His son did the Pumpkinhead thing, but I don't think he did the voice.
No, he did the voice.
Okay.
And the head movement, and then someone else controlled the body.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that makes sense. This definitely seems like a Henson kind of thing. It's the way that everything was designed.
I'll say the Ozma of Oz is like what this is book based on Ozma of Oz and Marvelous Land of Oz.
Yeah, second and third books.
Like a lot of the Ozma of Oz was like it had the original guys in it plus the TikTok guy and the chicken.
Yeah.
So
TikTok's my favorite character in this movie easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, TikTok's sick.
Real quick, I'll go over the cast. There's not a lot of notable people in here, but Dorothy, I think this is the girl that played her was Fairuza Balk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is her first movie ever. Apparently, she's I've seen The Waterboy, The Craft, American History X. She's in a bunch of other stuff.
Fun fact too, dude. I don't know if you're going to mention this, but the nurse that was in this movie and also was just in Willow that we watched and played the evil witch.
Yes, and she played the
same
evil
actress.
Princess.
Yeah.
Yeah, her name is Jean Marsh. And just like in the last movie, you have people playing two different roles, people that are in like the real world in quotation marks and people in Oz. So she plays Nurse Wilson in the real world, and then she plays Princess Mombi, kind of one of the main antagonists.
I have a quick question.
Yep.
Did they ever mention, and I don't know if I'm jumping ahead with this, and we just cut it out if I am, did they ever mention why the hell Dorothy is younger in this one?
So apparently in the book, she's only 10 or 11 years old. So they want,
okay.
And I think Judy Garland was like 16, I think, when she made the original Wizard of Oz. Like she was young.
There's like they look differently, like so much different, like as age wise.
Yeah, Dorothy's supposed to be that young, apparently in the books.
Okay, all right.
Nicol Williamson, who's supposed to be like a really good actor from the 60s and 70s, like he has all these praise for like doing like Shakespeare stuff. He plays Dr. Worley and an antagonist called the Gnome King, and Auntie M is played by Piper Laurie. I guess she was in Carrie and The Hustler and a bunch of other stuff too. So.
Okay.
And then, like I said, Jim Henson's company did like all the puppeteering and stuff like that, practical stuff. All right, so let's get into the movie itself. And I will say this, and we've said this before, this movie is much darker in tone than the original Wizard of Oz, which is like like very early on. You're like, oh, this is very, very different.
I'll wait till you get to this section, but because I want to make a few comments about the opening of this film. But go ahead.
So we start out with Dorothy laying in her bed at night with her dog Toto. And again, Toto looks very different. She's staring out of her farmhouse window, gazing at the starry night sky. Auntie M comes into Dorothy's room because she realizes Dorothy can't sleep. While outside the room, a distraught Uncle Henry, so Auntie M and Henry are returning characters from this, he's in there listening, and he gets to kind of see him. He seems distraught. Then he goes over to a table and grabs a newspaper clipping for electric healing. And it says to ease aches and pains. So this is electric shock therapy.
Now, was this in the books? This is what I wanted to talk about.
I don't know. I kind of wish I would have read these because I was like, oh my God, this is dark.
This I don't actually know. Yeah, they went a little hard here on the Go on.
I was like, oh God. And I'm seeing this as a kid. I don't really quite understand.
Well, you don't make that connection, right?
No. So like right off the bat, like this is not. It's a Disney movie, which is really weird. Think about it now. It's a kids movie.
I mean, there's some dark stuff in kids movies from Disney.
Yeah.
But in the 80s,
In the 80s,
definitely.
Like Alice in Wonderland?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But that was based.
Classic fables are scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Also, since you brought it up, fun fact: Alice in Wonderland came first and inspired Wizard of Oz. And this
Lewis
movie
Carroll.
also definitely very
Yes. Yeah. Good.
obviously.
Thanks for bringing it up because the author of who did there's like 34 Wizard of Oz books. The creator was Frank Baum, and he wanted to kind of mimic that kind of style of writing. He also wanted to mimic like the Brothers Grimm books.
Okay.
And he
Also wanted to make some money.
Yeah.
34 books.
But he kind of wanted to leave morality out of his stories. But there is you could definitely tell there's a very much of a Alice in Wonderland kind of thing going on here.
Yeah, definitely.
I will say that in the books, from what I understand, they start on a ship and they're going somewhere.
Oh, really?
She's not in the sanatorium. She's like on a ship, and then the ship hits like there's a big storm.
Okay.
And then she gets into that same box.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Oh, interesting. Auntie Em and Henry then debate about sending Dorothy there. They don't have any money since the tornado from the previous movie destroyed their farm. But here we find out it's only been 6 months since the last movie. They said it's been 6 months since the tornado hit their house. And they're having issues like getting money to rebuild their house.
They're trying to rebuild, and she's missing Oz.
Right.
I think that's really cool how they put that in there. Like, oh, it's only 6 months.
Yeah.
Like you can see, so
Which I never picked up on
happened.
as a kid. Yeah. Auntie Em and Uncle Henry, they were like, oh, Dorothy's might be a little, not crazy, but like there's something wrong with her. So they're actually debating.
Something's off.
Right, traumatized from a tornado destroying her house.
Yes. Yeah.
Because she's not sleeping. She has insomnia.
Yeah. She's telling these stories of this make-believe land that they think, talking to animals, doing all these adventures. Shortly thereafter, Dorothy sees a shooting star out her window late at night. And that comes up later. The next morning, Dorothy picks up her hen, Bellina, to see if she laid an egg. I guess she's been having trouble laying eggs. And Chris, you said this hen's in the series as well?
It's like a huge plot point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the ending.
Well, no. I mean, in like.
But in the books, he's saying like in the whole lore of the originals. Yeah.
Oh, wow. All right.
The book, yes, the chicken is in there, and it's like,
okay,
it's the same type of, it's the exact same thing.
I'll just say, if you've watched the original film and as you watch this movie, if you're not like a big fan of the books, I enjoy it, but I don't know much about them. I thought the whole time, I'm like, who came up with all this? Like, compared to the original film, it's so out of pocket.
Some weird
and then
guy in the 80s on drugs, just like, hey.
Yeah. we got to reboot the Oz.
We got talking chicken.
Yeah. I got a robot English guy.
I was not ready for the chicken, that's for sure.
A lady popping her head off.
Yeah.
So while Dorothy is looking for eggs, Bellina finds a key and kind of tosses it towards Dorothy.
Knocks it over to her, yeah. Pecks it.
Yeah, on the key, Dorothy discovers the letters OZ, meaning Oz, of course. Dorothy then believes it came from the shooting star that she saw the night previously. She goes to tell her aunt, but her aunt dismisses this, saying, don't talk about Oz anymore. Also in this scene, you could tell how badly the shape their farm is in. Because in the last movie, they're like, oh, everything's okay. Dorothy, you're not crazy. But now they're like, oh, you're crazy. And our farm's in ruins.
We're in some deep.
Yeah. And I guess Uncle Henry is supposed to be like building it, but he keeps saying he has a bad knee, but like.
Broken leg.
Yeah. Auntie Em's like, no, he's fine. So there's something kind of weird there.
And he's just sitting on the side porch, just like looking off into the distance, covered up.
He's having a rough time.
Yeah.
I mean, who wants to build a whole house by themselves? I get it, man.
But people did it all the time back then, apparently, on the frontier
it's not that bad.
of Kansas, the Great Plains.
Also, like when you're building a house back then, the houses are so much smaller than they are now. Like, and they're like 2 rooms.
Yeah, you have to worry about
They're
plumbing.
built for necessity.
Yeah.
Plumbing or electricity is not an issue. So Auntie Em and Dorothy then go to the sanitarium. Toto runs after the horse carriage. Dorothy tells Toto to go back home. So it's clear that at this point, Toto will not be going on this adventure, which I thought was kind of weird as a kid. I was like, why wouldn't she bring Toto back to Oz with her? So that's kind of odd.
Toto got replaced with a chicken.
We're not paying for the PETA license on this film. Just leave the dog at home.
So we got to the sanitarium and school for electric shock therapy. Dorothy and Auntie Em are in the office of Dr. Worley. Here she's telling the stories of Oz and all the characters she met, like the Tin Man, the Cowardly Lion, how she can talk to animals like the Cowardly Lion, and the Ruby Slippers, which the doctor seems to take an interest in.
Can we pause real quick and just talk about how she talked about the Tin Man, which I thought was super brutal? It's like, oh yeah, he chopped off his leg and then his other leg, and then they cut him off when he was like, and he cut his own head off. Like, whoa, what?
Was it like that's not
He likes
mentioned
it.
in the first movie at all? Yeah.
It was cute. Left on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
I'm guessing they left that out since what was going on in the rest of the world at the time. Like the Great Depression. Like, maybe we should have some a little more light.
Just make him sing and dance. He'll be all right.
He's fine. He just needs a little oil.
Because there's like an army of them. Like they're like a machine in that world. Like the Tin Men are like the people that cut trees down. There's a bunch of them.
Well, so I haven't noted this later, but like in the original movie they just call him a Tin Man, but in this he's called the Tin Man of the Woods or something like that, which I thought like his full name.
It's like a whole army of them, right?
They're like machines that like go cut down trees. They're like
wait.
Forest
So did
version.
all these people cut all their limbs off to become Tin Man then? Is that like the lore?
No, Tin Man's a
behind-
machine, just like TikTok.
Well, no, but Dorothy said that Tin Man cut his legs off and then his head off to become the Tin Man.
Yeah, but then maybe he's like a special case then. Like he was a
Special
person that
case
became
man.
the... Yes,
So
he's
so
it's
weird.
I don't
Classic
know if they
50s
explain
song.
that. I
I
don't
wonder
know.
if that's in the actual books. That'd be
Well,
that's
right. Maybe
nuts.
that's just in the
Look
movie.
it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So then
See on
Wooly,
the wiki.
Wooly presents the electric shock machine, which is to Dorothy, and I thought it was kind of weird. He's like, "Look at this! It doesn't look like the face of a man." Meanwhile, it's going to scramble your brains. Like,
This is its eyes, and look, it's its tongue.
yeah, there's his eyes, his
Yes.
nose,
It goes
his mouth,
to and
his
fro.
tongue. Yeah, I was like, that's
I can't wait
dark.
until, because this is like, that was a real thing they were doing to people
Yes.
back in the day.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
And I cannot wait until TikTok dumbasses come back and bring that back and say the new health trend is zapping your brain. Like, it's
You mean
so
now?
stupid. Yeah. Like, it's going to happen. There's someone out there like making a TikTok about it right now.
You know what? I think some people need their brain zapped.
Yeah.
I mean, remember the Tide Pods?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
scramble their brains.
There you go.
Yeah, zap them brains.
Like, it's so crazy because, like, oh, the brain's made up of electricity, so therefore we just shock you harder.
Brain zap challenge.
Yeah, here it is. You heard it first.
So yeah, he says how this machine that's going to shock her brain looks like a man. During this point, Worley's going on about how it's almost the turn of the century, almost 1900. He's going on the advancements of electricity, and Dorothy's kind of zoning out, looking around the room.
As I did in this part.
Yeah. Dorothy then sees the image of a little girl in the machine, and then again outside the window. So you don't know who this little girl is. Looks about the same age.
Blonde girl.
Yeah, looks about the
Yeah.
same age as Dorothy. So then Auntie M leaves Dorothy with the head nurse. I think she gives her lunch pail. She's like, "There's some food for you." She's like, "I have to go back home." Nurse Wilson, who again, this is the lady that was in Willow, but she's dressed all in black, which is she's like menacing looking.
She basically has the Wicked Witch outfit
Yes.
on, except for
Oh,
the
yeah.
hat.
I didn't think about
Yeah.
that.
And she has that real world symbolism of this is an evil character
Something
that's going
ominous.
to make that transition
Yes.
in the other fantasy world,
speaking
right?
Foreboding.
Speaking of the lunch pail, she immediately is like, "You won't."
Yeah,
need
yeah, she
this."
takes it off of her.
You're not going to need it.
Yeah, so she immediately kind of changes her tune as soon as she's alone, or as soon as Auntie M leaves.
This is like a thing, like a trope with especially 80s movies and stuff where like there's the evil woman that takes the children or like takes a child, like stays with your evil aunt, or you have your evil stepmother. Like that's like such a trope. And I think it's because like they do this with like a lot of Disney movies or like kids movies have parents die because they have to have kids understand the stakes. So they use that as like, oh, you know what it's like to have a terrible parent or like have a mean aunt or something or a
The
mean lady.
separation from mother and father is a
Yeah.
big thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine living with your shitty aunt.
Yeah. Imagine your parents have perished, child, and now you're getting your brain shocked by your evil aunt.
PBJs are going away.
You must
No
eat
more-
all the crust.
No more Lunchables.
Oh.
Pizza bagels gone.
Speaking of Lunchables, I heard that they found lead in those. So
What?
I don't know how. I didn't read into it, but I
They
just
taste
I
like it.
heard
They
yeah.
sure do. Yeah.
I love those pizza ones, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
To this
they might
day.
not have it anymore.
I would hope not. It's
They're
lead.
terrible.
It's
You're
lead.
still thinking about it. I don't know. We're waiting it out.
All right,
I'm
so
gonna Google it right now.
all right, yeah. Auntie M leaves.
Hold on.
Pause.
June 7th, 2024. Lunchables have concerning levels of lead and sodium.
gosh.
Consumer Report finds. All right.
Lead
anyways.
and sodium.
Children
And
blowing
sodium.
up.
Yeah.
Lunchables concerned.
That's
Lunchables are concerned.
a shame.
It is a shame.
All right. So Auntie Em leaves. Nurse Wilson immediately takes away Dorothy's lunch pail and is like, yeah, you don't need this. They walk through the sanatorium, which looks super dingy and like gross.
It's the 1800s, right? 1900s.
Yeah.
I mean,
Everything was kind of gross back then.
it's true.
She then brings Dorothy to her room and leaves her there. In her room, that little girl that Dorothy saw previously suddenly appears and presents her a jack-o'-lantern, like a pumpkin with a jack-o'-lantern face in it, stating that it's Halloween soon. She just kind of appears, which I thought was kind of weird.
She's like, what?
Yeah, here's a pumpkin.
Hey, they're about to zap you. Here's a pumpkin with no candy in it. Have fun.
Happy
What?
Halloween.
They don't really connect the pumpkin back to the store except for one, except
Well,
for
until
that
they meet
character.
that character, right?
But that doesn't. It's not like she's carrying his head with him.
I gotta
Well-
wonder, and I'll ask you this too, Jordan, since it's your pick, but with all the transitions they have from Dorothy, like in her fantasy world of Oz in her head, and like getting her the electroshock therapy because they start to think she's going like losing her mind or whatever. Yeah, exactly. Do you think that they intentionally put those little elements before she made the transition over? Like it's funny. It's weird to think about, like, if they're actually suggesting she might be a little crazy. I don't know.
That's the point. I think that's the point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that was even the point. Was supposed to be the point with the original one too. More so in this.
Yeah, and the movie does resolve in that sense that
Yeah.
that she probably isn't, but there's little hints that hey, it's entirely possible that this world isn't real and this is all in her head.
And they still don't. I don't think they still don't answer it.
Yeah, I think it's even kind of a theme in the books too.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
No, I think it is too. I think it's definitely part of the whole thing of the books is like you're never really sure.
Yeah.
Right. It's up to the reader to decide. Right. I just thought that was interesting.
It's like Alice in Wonderland type of thing.
Right.
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 So yeah, she's like, here's a pumpkin. You're about to get your brain scrambled. Happy Halloween.
Enjoy it.
And this girl, the pumpkin that comes up later, suddenly the girl leaves after hearing moaning of a man in the distance, which is terrifying. Like what is
Oh,
that?
yeah.
What is that? Like what?
It's a sanatorium.
Well, yeah, but like again,
Old like haunted house records. Oh.
this is a kid's movie. It's just like what?
Isn't it sanitarium?
Sanatorium?
What's a sanatorium?
Sanitarium.
Oh.
Sanitarium. You're right. Sorry.
Sanaborium.
I was using voice dictation for a lot of this, so a lot of this is spelled wrong. Nurse Wilson then comes to pick up Dorothy with some orderlies. They strap her to a bed. Dorothy asked if any of them heard the man screaming, and the nurse just says no. Nurse Wilson. So she's denying anything weird going on here.
Hey, real quick. Sanatorium and sanitarium are interchangeable.
Yeah. All right.
Oh,
Cool.
Look at that.
Sanit-
Tomato.
sanatorium, sanitarium. Okay.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
they're spelled differently, but they mean the same thing.
Oh.
Welcome home.
Well, thanks, Jeff.
Yeah.
So they then wheel Dorothy into the shock room with Dr. Worley. At this point, they attempt to start shocking Dorothy, but the power goes out due to a storm outside. Everyone just leaves Dorothy in the room in the dark. She struggles to get out for a minute. And again, in the background, she hears multiple people screaming.
I thought they were going to the electric was going to the
Zap it,
lightning was going to go
machine,
through her
yeah.
face.
And she becomes a
Yeah.
flash.
Yeah.
Like a Frankenstein.
I don't know if you caught this, but there was another person hanging themselves in the background of the scene.
It was me.
I watched that so many times with my brother in the original
Yep.
one. So many times.
Right?
Apparently-
It's there.
Apparently, it's not real, though. Like, apparently
Well,
it's not,
no, yeah,
that's
the
what
feet
hanging
are
himself.
flat. It's fake, but yeah.
And I don't know if you guys have you ever done like the Pink Floyd thing with
Oh,
the
yeah.
original Wizard of Oz? Okay, you Dark Side of the
There's
Moon.
like a third roar you start on the
Yeah, there's like
something
different
that.
interpretations of it, but you're supposed to start it and then it syncs up
Yeah.
somehow. It does. I mean, none of it makes sense.
No.
But
This one you sync up to that one song "Ride the Tiger" by
Eye of the Tiger.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
just
I-
over and over the 45 single.
Yeah.
Loop it.
Try it. You don't know.
So suddenly in the dark, that mysterious little girl shows up again. She breaks Dorothy out and they run away. Little girl says that the screaming is from people locked in the cellar. As they're running through, the storm starts to build a little bit outside. Nurse Wilson finds the little girls, but luckily the two escape outside in the storm.
Wait, whenever they came down the steps, she said something. Did she see the little girl? Like, did she notice that other little girl, not Dorothy, or was she just specifically talking to her? Like, it doesn't really clear about, does she notice?
Again, that's like the open interpretation thing. They're kind of leaving like little hints.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like she says something specifically about that girl or something. Maybe because it's Mambi or Mombi?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, there's some wording used there that I can't remember what it was, but I feel like it could be interpreted either way.
Yeah, because that's not in the book. She wasn't in the sanatorium in the book.
Okay. Nurse Wilson finds them. They go outside. They run through some woods, and they eventually both fall into a fast-moving river.
So it goes from a tornado for the first movie. Now they're in a hurricane or something in Kansas.
Dorothy and the little girl are first able to both get onto a piece of wood or a door. So that shows that Titanic is full of and Rose sucks because there's room for Rose. There's room for two of them.
Selfish.
Well, no one's those girls aren't as big as Leo. He's a big man.
I don't know. He's got some lean meat on him.
They're eventually separated, and Dorothy gets into what appears to be like a cage. It looks like a cage. That kind of clarifies what it is a little bit later. She gets in a cage. The other girl disappears. She falls asleep in this cage.
Yeah, do you notice that she goes from the door to like now she's in a cage? Like, where'd the door go?
Right. Yeah.
Like, it's just like she's like grabbing onto the door, then all of a sudden the next scene she's on a cage.
Yeah. When did the hen show up?
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Again, is she crazy? Next morning she wakes up and discovers that her hen, Bellina, is with her. And I think at this point you can kind of tell it's a crib that she comes out of. Like it's
Is
old.
that what it was?
I think so, yeah.
It's like, I think it's a crate though. It says property or like from Kansas on the side of it. Like there's a label.
Oh, I thought it said I thought it was like a metal like thing saying it's the sanatorium. I don't know. I mean, it very well could be a crate. I guess
it said something about Kansas.
Okay.
I don't know. But anyway.
Dorothy discovers that Bellina is able to talk, and she's very sassy.
Yep.
She gets some. Yeah.
Good voice though. I like the voice actress.
Yeah,
Running me at cartoons for some reason, but I couldn't place it.
Yeah. I think she's done some cartoons.
Disney, it would make sense.
Yeah. Dorothy discovers she's in a waterless desert area, but not too far off in the distance. There's a lush forest, and this is Bellina makes the comment that they're not in Kansas. I don't think she says we're not in Kansas anymore, but she says we're not in Kansas, which is obviously call back to the first film.
I just pooped an egg.
So I was trying to find out who the voice actor was, and
she's done a bunch of stuff.
It's Denise Breyer.
Okay.
But this also says that Uncle Henry and Dorothy are on a voyage to Australia when a violent storm hits, tossing her overboard.
That was in the book.
And she washes up.
That's the original version?
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh. Interesting. So all that whole first part was basically just added for the movie.
Movie fluff, yeah.
To kind of probably because at the end of the first one, that's sort of
try to sync it up. Yeah.
That is interesting.
Dorothy realizes that they have indeed arrived in Oz and that they're in the deadly desert. She remembers seeing this as she was flying over it in her house in the tornado in the first movie. Did they ever show her flying over a desert?
No.
Okay, all right.
No. There was no desert.
Yeah. It's called the deadly desert. She also says that by standing on the sand, it will turn any living person into sand.
In stone or sand?
Sand,
yeah.
Oh, sand.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she can't stand on the sand, but she's able to realize that we could cross this desert area by standing on these nearby stones.
Jump the stones, yeah.
On one of the nearby stones, a menacing looking eye appears. And then another stone, two more eyes appear.
Some claymation appears.
Yeah, is that what that is? Is that claymation?
Oh, it's definitely clay. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
all right. Because I was like, as a kid, I was like, how are they doing this?
It's either stop motion or claymation.
Even now, I'm like, I don't know how they do this before computers.
A combination of the two. Yeah.
Okay.
It was really awesome. The tech, it looked really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
they did a great job with that.
As time goes on throughout the movie, the faces in the stones, especially with the main antagonist, becomes more and more human-like, more and more lifelike, which I thought was really cool. Like it progressively evolves. I thought was really neat.
I think it looks better even than like something like computer animated.
Yes.
Like it just looks really cool the way they did it.
Had a very rock biter feel about it from Neverending
Oh
Story.
yeah. So Dorothy and Bellina are able to get across the little desert area, and they get to the wooded area. They discover a lunch pail tree, and Dorothy knows what it is. Again, this is something was that something from the first one?
That had to be in the books. No,
Okay,
that's something from the books.
I was like, I don't remember that.
And that's definitely something that was like, it seems like it was written by like an 8-year-old. Like, what's in here?
A ham sandwich.
PBJ. Or a ham. It was ham. That's right.
Sandwich.
That's when I was like, I wrote a note. I was like, come on, are you serious? Stupid.
You got mad.
A ham sandwich.
Also, I mean, what's the over under on that just being added in weirdly because like
It's
you
the
know, the whole
80s.
first part. Well, yeah. Well, the whole first part wasn't in the book, right? But she lost her lunch pail, so now she's getting one back.
Right, yeah.
Like,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
was
yeah.
that added in?
Yeah.
Who knows?
There was also a fried chicken joke in there from
There
whenever.
was, yeah.
Oh man, Bellina has all the jokes. There's so
And I
many
just looked it up
jokes.
that Denise Breyer did basically nothing except for a voice in Labyrinth, and that was pretty much it from like our era.
Okay. Well, it just sounds similar to somebody else then.
Yeah.
So to describe this tree, it looks like a tree. The lunch pails look like apples, but like they have the coloring of apples. It's very clear, like they're cylindrical, metal, like a
It was, yeah. They're red pails.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
it says lunch pail on it.
Yeah. And yeah, it's very clearly marked.
Yeah.
I thought there was going to be like some fruit by the foot in there. That's what it looked like.
Some fruit bag, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Dorothy takes two of the pails, one of which she'll save for later. The first one she opens up, and it's a ham sandwich, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, amazing. Fresh.
And isn't this where Bellina makes the fried chicken joke about like,
Yes.
glad it's not fried chicken or something like that? Because she's a chicken, obviously.
Yes.
So this scene as a kid, I think this is originally a lot of times where I stopped watching because it cuts to a scene where there's like a stone wall. That's all you see. And it's red. You're assuming because there's like a fire.
An evil layer of some
evil layer.
type, right?
I was like, is this hell?
They're not revealing too much
Yeah, I was like,
yet.
are they in hell right
They're
now?
showing you glimpses of hell.
God. So I was able to like watch a little bit as a kid.
Director's commentaries, personal commentary.
So yeah, it's just a wall. That's all you see. I'm assuming the same eyes and nose and mouth appear. Again, this looks more like a face than it did the previous times. And it starts talking to something in the distance. So again, they're just showing a wall, so you don't see what this thing is talking to. But it refers to it as Lord. So obviously it's like a superior to him. This wall thing tells his Lord that Dorothy has returned to Oz. The voice in the distance tells him to keep eyes on her. But when the wall face shows some like worry, like a human face does, like there's something like off, and his
Emotions,
Lord,
yeah.
His Lord's like, all right, what is it? Tell me what's going on. And he, what do you say? Hold on, I'm trying to find the exact word you said.
Get the fuck out of here. Just cut that out.
So yeah, he just says Dorothy has a chicken, and like he's like, a chicken. So like something. This is like,
Oh yeah, they don't like chickens there.
Yeah. This is like
they hate chickens.
what would you call this? Like Foreshadowing. Thank you.
Yeah.
For chickening.
Anti-chickens.
For chickening.
I was getting sick of that when they kept on bringing up like chicken, like the entire thing. Everybody's focused on like this chicken. All the, protagonist or protagonist,
Antagonist.
Antagonist.
Yeah. Then you find out later why.
Yeah, it's a real Deus Ex Machina.
But they like keep on saying it like over and over again. You're like, dude, just explain it.
Right.
And they do eventually.
So then we go
In
back
the dumbest way possible.
we go back to Dorothy and Bellina in the woods. But then she sees that the yellow brick road is kind of destroyed. It's overgrown. The bricks are all messed up.
It was like a park that was neglected.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all jacked up.
Yeah. So again, much darker tone this time around.
Which I'm going to bring that up later whenever we get to the antagonist, the main person, because I'm questioning that whole thing. His whole thing.
Like
But go
motive?
ahead.
His motives.
Yeah, because
Motives?
he didn't take the gold. I don't know, whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Bring that up later.
He's just not smart.
Talk about that. He's just not smart. King of dummies. So Dorothy is freaking out. She starts frantically following the yellow brick road. She's like, oh, if the yellow brick road is in ruins, then clearly something at the Emerald City must be off. Like she's like, okay, something's off here. She's just freaking out, running towards running towards the Emerald City. We cut back again to that red wall, or the wall with the red light on it. The wall thing's reporting to his lord again, saying that Dorothy discovered the Yellow Brick Road and she's on her way to Emerald City. And the lord just simply replies, "Good. She won't get past Mombi."
They're dropping a new name, yeah.
yeah. He goes back to Dorothy again, and she sees the Emerald City in the distance. Sees that's in shambles, almost destroyed completely. And again, this Oz looks very much different than it looked in the original movie. Obviously, because somewhat destroyed, but in the original movie, it looked more like, I don't know,
like Shining Mountain.
Yeah, shining, like
a shining city.
Shining City.
Very
Yeah.
saturated.
Yeah. This is, it looks more like realistic kind of.
This looks like an Italian village.
Yeah.
She makes it there very fast this time.
Yes. Well, yeah. Oh, she was running.
She already knew the way, Chris. She already knew the way.
That's true.
Right. Just follow the road. She knew the way the first time, right?
So she gets in the city. She sees what appears to be statues, but realizes that they are actually people who have turned to stone.
Her friends.
Yeah. On a nearby wall, she sees spray painted graffiti that states, "Beware the Wheelers."
Friggin' hate the Wheelers.
Dude,
So
these
dumb.
guys.
The Wheelers suck.
The Wheelers suck.
Also, Beware the Wheelers looks like it was written in blood on a wall.
Yeah. And I was like, this is definitely 80s. It's definitely a little darker.
Do they have spray paint in Oz?
Well, that's what I thought was weird too,
Yeah.
because clearly, 80s.
When gangs tag this.
Dorothy's like, I don't know who the Wheelers are. When Bellina's like, what are the Wheelers?
So dumb.
Then above,
Dumbest.
Yeah.
above
Dumbest
a
characters
wrecked
ever.
wall, you get a quick glance of what one of these Wheelers are. So Dorothy goes through the rubble. I think she's chasing after Bellina because Bellina cries out. Dorothy discovers the Tin Man of the Woods. That's what it's called, Tin Man of the Woods. Which again is something new to the movie. They didn't call him the Tin Man of the Woods in the last one.
He was just Tin Man.
Yeah, and then she also sees Cowardly Lion, who is not bipedal, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, he's just a lion.
Yeah, it's just a lion. Yeah, they both turn to stone. And suddenly a Wheeler shows up, maniacally laughing, wanting Bellina. Again, what's the deal with the chickens? So this is the most 80s part of this
Yes.
movie. The way these guys look.
This is like that episode on Stranger Things that everyone hates. This is that part of the movie.
Yeah, where they reference the gang. Yeah.
Yep. This is it.
Yeah,
This is like RoboCop 3 gangs. Like that level of quality.
So yeah, let's talk about the way they look, okay? Because I was like, are they
They
trying
look
to
like
are they trying to make them like punks? Like
Yeah, they're like shitty Warriors gangs.
Yeah.
It's a good
Yeah.
point, Jeff.
At first, I thought they looked cool when I saw the mask. I was like, "Oh, cool!" And then he lifted his head up, and it's just a dude. And I was like, "What the f is this?"
So let's talk about the masks. The masks are kind of like creepy looking, right? They look like
right?
They're cool.
something out of like Elden Ring or something like that. But like,
Yeah, like
but I don't understand like how do they see where they're going? Because like their mask is on the top of their head, right?
it's pointless mask.
Yes. So then
Worthless
they
mask.
can't see where they're going on their wheels.
They look like a character from out of Monty Python.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even put it as Monty Python.
There's
It's
a
like
bunch
that
of
level.
carnies. There's a bunch of carnies, and they needed some jobs.
They're juggalos. They're juggalos is what they are.
Yeah, the Juggalos of Oz.
That's where they got
perfect.
it.
Juggalos of Oz.
Perfect.
That's the fifth book or something,
Yeah.
the 10th
I would
book or something.
definitely
That's the
watch that.
Juggalos of Oz.
They're going chicken hunting.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I got it. I got it.
Nailed it. That's the Mulder connection.
There it is. End the podcast.
So these guys have wheels on their feet and on their hands, right? So they're hunched over. So these masks are on their top of their forehead. That's the first thing you see. But then they have to they can't see where they're going, which I thought was kind of stupid. That is dumb.
It's like looking down.
Yeah.
Well, they are dumb.
Yeah. So
They're the dumbest part of
when
this
you
whole
see their
thing.
face, they have like these bright colored
Hate 'em.
makeup on. Their pants look like Jinko pants. Which
Yeah,
I
I'm
was
coming
like-
back though, right?
I was like, what?
Bulgy pants.
And their hair looks like dreadlocks, but it's not. It looks more like cords.
They're just balding.
Spirit
though.
Halloween.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can describe these guys.
All of them, yeah. If they were alive today, they would work at
Put
Spirit Halloween.
Spirit Halloween on wheels.
Yeah.
It's these dudes.
Yep.
It looks
Nothing
it is-
wrong with Spirit Halloween.
Looks like they have
but,
just
you know,
No.
like cords coming from there. Anyways, they terrified me as a kid, man. So like anyone would be, I'd be like, Dorothy runs away. She's terrified. Grabs Bellina, runs away. They get trapped down a little corridor. The Wheelers come rolling up, maniacally laughing, rolling towards her. Suddenly, Bellina realizes there's a keyhole in the wall that they're stuck up against. She urges Dorothy to grab the key that she had found previously on her farm.
Pecker key.
Yep. And she puts it in the keyhole, and they're able to get, through the wall. On the other side of the wall, like, Dorothy's like, hey, why are you doing this? The Wheeler responds, and I said he sounds like Bobcat. The guy from like from Police Academy.
Yeah.
The way he talks, I'm like, why is this guy talking like Bobcat? But he also kind of sounds like the Joker sometimes. So he's like, he stole a lunch pail, which I was like, okay, I guess that's an offense. And that she has a chicken with her, which the Gnome King doesn't allow in Oz. Doesn't say why. And she's like, who's the Gnome King? And they just roll away laughing.
Also, gnome is spelled N-O-M-E for some reason.
Yes, yeah.
Like home?
Yes. There's no G in this.
And they're not
The
gnomes.
opposite of home.
And they're not even gnomes. They're like
no
wall people, stone people.
Also in the books, this book takes place in a place called Eve, E-V, not even Oz.
Oh.
Like she's not in Oz in this. She brings her friends from Oz to here to help her.
To a new land. Okay.
Oh,
so now they're really twisting it.
Apparently the Gnome King is like the main antagonist in like most of the books.
What?
Yeah.
How?
Like even more so than the Wicked Witch of the West.
Wow.
So Dorothy and Bellina discover that they're in a room. They also discover, like I said earlier, my favorite character, a round, stout, mustachioed, copper metal looking man.
Definitely redeemed itself. I was like, what are these stupid Wheelers? And then I was like, all right, this guy. Yeah.
On this machine man's body is a badge saying the Royal Army of Oz. And as a kid, I was like, this guy wasn't in the original. Who's this? It's like 10-man ripoff. But he's great.
10-man too.
He's great. Dorothy discovers the directions on the back of the man. It says he has mechanical clockwork mechanism in him. He must be wound to operate. There's different like ones, one for movement, one for intelligent, one for action, I think, and one for moving.
It's like three knobs.
Thinking, moving, and speaking.
Yes,
one's
that's it.
One's the action one though.
And always one runs out.
Yeah.
That's what's cool like about this guy is that's a good
it's
like
interesting
plot
character.
twist.
Yeah.
Where like they always have this thing like, oh crap, he stopped doing this. Like it was always a good thing that she had to keep on paying attention to.
His name is TikTok. Unfortunately, that's
unfortunately is a good way to put it.
But not T-I-K.
No, it's T-I-K.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it?
that.
Yeah, because I watched with the subtitles. T-I-K-T-O-K.
Oh, it is. Holy crap.
Yeah.
How is that dude not blown up on that platform yet?
we should start
For
that.
real. Maybe.
So his name's TikTok. Dorothy winds him up. He knows that she's Dorothy, which I thought was kind of interesting. He said he was locked in there to wait for a return by the King of Emerald City, who's none other than the Scarecrow. You guys remember the Scarecrow from the original movie?
Remember that guy?
How did that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing I don't really
They don't
understand.
explain that.
Why did they hand it off to him?
Yeah.
Of all the people.
He was a dummy. He had no brain.
Stupid crow.
That actually makes a lot of sense now why they put him in charge.
Yeah.
He's
He's
just a figurehead.
It checks out with reality. Yep.
Well, he did get in charge because Ozma's got taken away. That's why they put him in charge.
Spoilers.
Because she's the queen.
Wait, so when you say are you going from the book or the movie at this point?
Well, both.
Okay.
So the wizard's not in charge anymore after the first movie.
Right. But then when Ozma went away,
She gets taken away.
Who put the Scarecrow in charge?
Yeah.
That I don't know. I don't really know how he gets.
The Lollipop Gang?
Gerrymandering did.
Gerrymandering.
Filibustering.
Yeah, gerrymander.
So TikTok doesn't remember what happened to Emerald City. He asked Dorothy how she got the key, and she said it came from the shooting star. He said that Scarecrow must have somehow sent the key to Dorothy through shooting star. TikTok vows to be Dorothy's servant, and he devises a plan to escape the Wheelers.
Not the best plan, but
it's silly. Outside, yeah.
Well, it's a silly movie.
Yeah. Outside, he proceeds to beat the crap out of all of them because he spins in a circle with the lunch pail. With the lunch pail, and they're just like running into him.
Good.
It's a good thing she kept that lunch pail. They capture one of the Wheelers. The Wheeler mentions the name. So he mentions the Gnome King rules Oz now. He took all the emeralds from Emerald City and turned everyone to stone. Also, the only person who knows where the Scarecrow is Princess Mombi. So TikTok forces the Wheeler to take him and Dorothy to find this Princess Mombi to figure out where the Scarecrow is.
Mombi's lair.
Yeah. Is that like a cat? Like, I don't know. I think it's part of the castle of Emerald City. But like in the way it is, it looks more just like a tower or kind of like
from the outside. I thought it was going to look like Superman's home,
it's just like decrepit
like crystal. But but then when you get in there, it just looks like a 70s.
All the emeralds are gone, so that's why it looks so.
But it's just
terrible.
like slim and tall. Like I don't know. So
Right.
I don't know if you call that a castle. I don't know what you call it.
Call it a Jordan, slim and tall.
They arrive there. They let the Wheeler go, which is kind of stupid on Dorothy's part. She knocks on the door, no one answers, so they go inside the castle. It looks a little dingy. There's like this ominous kind of like Baroque sounding music playing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's like
it's like a string. It's like a string instrument. I think I look on the subtitles. It said
intense stringing.
It's a mandolin apparently.
Okay. Captain, what's his name's mandolin?
Wrong.
You know what I'm talking about. Captain Ron's mandolin.
Captain Ron.
So yeah, it's dingy, but they go upstairs and they enter a very pristine looking room covered in mirrors, and they see a lavishly dressed woman sitting in a grand chair playing a mandolin. Dorothy then asks if this is Princess Mombi. The woman doesn't really say anything regarding that, but she just responds saying she needs to change into something more appropriate. As a kid, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was like, oh boy.
That's what you said as a kid?
I was like, what's happening?
Okay.
I was like, what's happening?
What does that mean?
What's this feeling?
Oh God.
I can't fight this feeling. Sorry.
She leads Dorothy, she takes her by the hand, away from TikTok and Bellina. And then again, this is a kid that I had to stop multiple times as a kid at this point.
Oh, different reason this time though, right?
Yeah.
Stop.
Jokes.
So she leads her away from TikTok and Bellina in a room full of individual display cases of female heads.
Yeah. And they're all looking around too. They're not just sitting there.
Now they just like headless. They're like alive and they're looking and they're like moving.
It's a gallery of faces.
They're showing emotions.
I thought this was so cool, and I loved Mombi. Like, this part of Mombi was rad. Like, George R.R. Martin clearly stole this for the Faceless Men.
Oh,
It was like so rad. I was like, this is awesome. I loved like her whole gimmick and the fact that like the different heads maybe like, I'm jumping ahead, but like different heads remember different things and stuff.
Yep.
So.
Yep, which I never picked up on as a kid, that they remember.
But they also
things.
don't really use it other than this whole segment.
Right.
Like they don't really use it at all. And like, I can't really remember what happens in the books, but like it is a thing, but I don't understand why they don't use it more. Just like she puts that one original head on and then.
Well, she was like vain, right? She just wanted to be beautiful. That's why she was collecting beautiful heads.
That's why she was the antagonist.
Younger, like I think a younger woman too. That's why there's those headless statues of the dancing maidens outside, which you mentioned later.
They explain later, but like that whole thing was like not used. Like they could have just made her an evil lady living in a tower.
Oh, yeah, she could have been her own. She could have been her own villain in this movie.
Yeah.
They could have done all
well,
cool
she
stuff
is,
with that.
and in one of the books, she is the actual villain.
Okay. Oh yeah, because this is based off of 2 and 3, so maybe obviously they combine both books.
They do, but like that's why they don't explain her well enough.
Okay.
Which is stupid.
Yeah,
They like
that's kind of a
why
waste.
she has all the heads in.
So yeah, these heads they're alive. They're just don't have bodies on them. So then the woman proceeds to remove her own head, placing it in a case, walks over another, and put us on a different head. Princess Mombi's like, "Who are you?" to Dorothy and why she's there. Dorothy just asks where Scarecrow is, and Princess Mombi just says the Gnome King took him. All of a sudden, she's saying how pretty she looks, or should be more pretty when she grows up. And she tells Dorothy she's going to lock her in the tower until she's old enough.
Yeah,
to
all of a sudden we'll twist on her.
To take her head. And I was like, oh my God. As a kid, that's terrifying.
Again, another Alice in Wonderland thing with the head.
Off with her
Off
head.
with her head, yeah. Rip off.
A little different. A nice twist on it. But,
I know. The best artists rip off other artists.
Dorothy tries to escape. Bellina tries to help, but is caught by Mombi. TikTok runs out of his action power, so he's helpless.
I needed wound more.
Mombi locks
me again.
Dorothy and Bellina in a tower, the tower of where this place is. Suddenly, Dorothy hears a voice saying, "Mom." Dorothy follows his voice to discover Jack Skellington.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. The original.
Yeah. His name is actually Jack Pumpkinhead. Again, like, come on, that's Jack Skellington. He asks if Dorothy is his mom, but she says no. He asks her to check his head looking for spoiling or soft spots and asks her to put his back together. His one arm and leg had fallen off. So I never caught this when I was a kid. Jack claims his mom built him to scare off Mombi. So he's created.
He's like another scarecrow.
He's created, but Jack also mentions that Mombi used the powder of life on him that she got from a wizard creating him. So I was like, wait, is Mombi his mom? So
did Mombi create him?
Mombi.
So Mombi, he was created by his mom, but then Mombi turned him into what the pumpkin.
They gave him life, basically.
Yeah.
Take that.
Yeah. So he mentions this powder of life that gave him life that Mombi got from a wizard. Do you think that wizard is a Wizard of Oz?
Little reference there,
do you think the powder is his
Dried up.
Whose?
Calcified.
the wizards?
This kind of episode now.
Dried it up, yeah.
You can bleep it. People will still know what you're talking about.
He's like, you want a bump?
Do you think it's his butter?
You kids want a bump?
Hey, you got any of that wizard butter left? it's life dust.
So yeah, I was like, I wonder if she got this powder of life from the wizard, but I don't know. They never actually said. He then says Dorothy could have, or he then says Princess Mombi might have more powder of life in cabinet number 31, which is with her original head. So then Dorothy devises a plan. You don't hear what it is because they kind of cut to Jack is able to pick the lock out of the tower
With his long hand. It's like all creepy. And
they get to the hall where TikTok was seized up. Dorothy sneaks into the sleeping Mombi's room to steal the key off her wrist. While TikTok and Jack start collecting and tying together things in the tower. Dorothy then goes to the room of heads, which are all sleeping. And again, this is like super terrifying. She steals the powder, which is in the number 31 display case. But next to the powder, obviously, like I said earlier, is the head of none other than Nurse Wilson. Same lady. Old dumb Dorothy knocks over something, which awakes the head, prompting her to scream, which then in turn prompts all the other heads to start screaming and freaking out. And that, as a kid, terrified me.
Yeah, that was a cool scene.
Yeah. This also then prompts Mombi's body to wake up because Mombi's body is headless at this point, and she's running around frantically.
Yeah.
also, she steals the key, which is an emerald key, or a ruby key.
Ruby, yeah.
Too, and that's important later because the key was given to her, like given to Mombi. It's important, like because it's ruby. And they mention it later.
Okay, that's right. Yeah,
Slips.
Dorothy frantically running away on way back to the tower. She ends up that mirror room again where she first met Princess Mombi. She sees something in one of the mirrors, and it looks exactly like Glinda the Good Witch from the original Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
Like super quickly, I was like, "Oh, is that her?" And then she kind of like fades away. So Dorothy runs over to that mirror and discovers that there's a hidden door behind it, which leads up to the tower that they were locked in. TikTok and Jack had completed their contraption with the animal head, that being called a gump.
Gump.
Which is this green looking thing. It looks kind of like a moose, but has like antlers of a deer. It has lipstick on, apparently.
Made of multiple parts.
It looked like it was ready to smooch something.
Who the hell came up with gump for that?
Is that like an animal?
I don't know.
Like in a certain part of the world, it's called a gump. It's just
I don't think
moose.
so.
It's an elk-like creature, is what I say. In the
They put this gump head on the front of this couch. They put like some are those palm leaves? What are those like?
Yeah, they're palms
for like for its wings or whatever.
Oh, so sorry. The word gump means a foolish person.
Well, like Forrest Gump.
Well, right, but I didn't realize it was like an actual word.
So Dorothy sprinkles life powder on the contraption. She says some magical words to bring it to life. This allows the gump creature homunculus thing to take off in flight.
Take flight
right out the window. Nurse Wilson's unable to capture them because she comes running up. She gets her head back.
Also, the gump is just exactly how you would imagine it alive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mombi then orders her wheelers to go after them. Dorothy and her gang decide to fly until dawn to find a safe place to land because it's a little too dark. Also, like, I didn't know, like, literally when they show the tower, like the castle, whatever that they're in from the outside isn't like that high up. But like suddenly when they're outside flying, they're like, looks like they're like 1,000 miles up. How high? I don't know. That was kind of weird. So anyways, we can't see anything. We can't see the ground. So we have to wait till dawn to find a safe place to land.
Right.
The Gump's like, I don't even know if I can land. I don't even know if I can turn.
Yeah.
But anyways, Dorothy's tired. She falls asleep. Back at Mombi's castle, Mombi plays her mandolin. Taunting, we found out, is the name of this thing in the mirror. It's not Glinda the Good Witch, I guess. Her name's Ozma. Mombi says no one knows where she is or even who she is. So this wherever this Ozma is trapped in Mombi's mirrors. Then a shot goes back showing that like the Grump's body's kind of falling apart. I guess like a rope is starting to.
The Gump.
The Gump. Yeah, sorry.
He got grumped.
The dictation said Grump. It's starting to fall apart. Next morning, Dorothy wakes to a turbulent ride due to the Gump falling apart.
And she falls asleep too again.
Well, she fell asleep that night and woke up.
Yeah.
That
I'm ready for a nap while we're flying in midair, falling apart.
It's time.
It's time for slumber.
What?
So Jack loses his head over the side. This prompts the Gump to dive bomb to catch Jack's head. Then the whole Gump falls apart, and everyone starts free falling. And they all just land together on a snowy mountain somehow. Together.
Yeah, totally fine.
Yeah, they fell like hundreds of feet.
Happenstance, dude.
Yeah, right on top of the mountain.
Right on top of the mountain. And you find out it's the Gnome King's mountain. So they got there. Isn't that lucky?
Got lucky.
Hey, we're here. Put your shoes on.
The Gnome King tells his wall minion to figure out what all the ruckus is on his mountain. That wall minion then alerts the Gnome King that she's arrived with a small army. Dorothy's arrived with a small army. So the Gnome King appears on the face of this mountainside, welcoming them. Again, the progression of these stone creatures' faces are becoming more and more human-like. Bellina is hiding Jack's head.
Yes.
Which is
great note.
Key
Important.
to later.
Yeah.
Gnome King kind of plays dumb, saying, "Who are you?" She introduces herself, saying she wants to get the Scarecrow back, all the emeralds he stole back. The Gnome King kind of laughs us up, and it causes like a earthquake kind of thing, where like the ground opens up underneath them. And
well, he is like a rock kind of guy.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
he is the mountain.
Yeah,
he is the mountain.
He's a wizard of the mountain.
So she falls in by herself in like this crevasse, but like it's really 80s and really kind of trippy. Like she's like falling through like these weird colors and like he starts to explain like why he took everything, because like one of the things was she's like, I want the emeralds back. He's like, well, the emeralds are taken from me. They came from this mountain. They were mined by my gnomes. Like those emeralds and all these jewels is like they belong to me. So that's kind of his justification for doing what he does.
Because she's saying you stole them, and he's like, no,
yes, they were stolen from me.
Let's talk about who's stealing
my
something.
Stuff.
Yeah,
right,
the Emerald City stole your stuff.
Yes.
So really, he's in the right.
Yes. Yeah.
True.
Which goes back because he took. We'll find out later something else that's, has stones.
Yes.
But he didn't take the golden or the yellow brick road, which is gold.
Which is weird.
It's not gold.
The yellow brick road. I thought they even say it's gold.
Yeah, I think it's made of gold, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it looked
Doesn't
like,
look like
it just looked like bricks in this, but in the other one, it looked like gold.
Why isn't it the Golden Brick Road? I mean,
Well, that doesn't have it because that's like the golden brick.
follow
Yellow
the
brick sounds
Golden Brick
easier.
Road. It's like it still works.
Also, apparently in the books, she doesn't have ruby slippers. It's silver slippers, which I thought was kind of interesting.
They probably needed to. Oh, you know what? Because Jeff brought up this point earlier. Because of the whole Technicolor thing in the original film,
yeah. Okay.
they probably wanted to spice it up a little bit and get it.
That makes
We need
sense.
something
that's right,
nice
yeah.
and ruby.
All right, ready. The yellow brick road in Wizard of Oz is covered in poppy pollen that gives it a yellowish appearance.
Oh.
Poppy
Yeah, but
poop.
is that just what they did to make it look like
It's
that, or was
described as being made of gold bricks, but it's not.
Oh.
It was a
there you go.
lie.
it? Well, like in the book, does he explain that in the book,
I don't
or
know.
is that just what they
It was
did
just
to
what
make it?
came up when I looked
In
it
the
up.
book, he
I don't
has
read
a
no
full
book.
recipe on how to make gold. Look
I
it
don't read
up.
no book, buddy. I don't read.
I don't do no reading in my spare time.
Why didn't they bring back the flying monkeys whenever they were flying around?
Because the witch is dead.
Because they have the Wheelers
That was her crew.
Yeah,
they have the Wheelers, who are way better than
die?
monkeys.
Yeah. She's melting. That's right.
They are not way better.
No,
than
it was
monkeys were terrifying.
He was being
as a kid.
sarcastic.
They are nowhere even close to as.
When
better.
you're a kid and you see those monkeys, that's terrifying.
I was more terrified of the Wheelers than was the monkeys.
That's just because they're so dumb. You're like, oh, I don't want to turn into that when I'm older.
Yeah, but it's kind of messed up to think about. It's like, as a child, it's like, man, those monkeys are terrifying. As an adult, it's like, man, they could have abused those monkeys.
Oh, yes, they definitely did.
Oh, geez. Well,
Maybe that's why they did the Wheelers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like, man, we should put some guys on some wheels this
we
time
should
around.
put a bunch of guys who are on Megan's Law on these wheels.
we can't beat monkeys anymore, so we gotta get people.
Yeah, we'll pay these people to abuse them.
Yeah, we'll abuse
Pay
them.
some creeps
Make
to
them
scream at these kids.
We'll make them hunch over for 20 hours a day and roll around on some wheels.
Yeah.
I love it. Tell them it's an art project.
So she falls to the mountain. Gnome King says why, he's doing this because they're actually his emeralds and stones.
My stones.
my stones.
I see stones.
Where are my stones?
Which is an awesome way to explain what's going on, or like explain like his point of view or why he did all this.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like a great thing. Like,
Yes.
way to explain it.
So she eventually stops her free fall and kind of arrives in a cave kind of area looking thing.
Cave with some ornaments.
Yes. In this cavern, Dorothy is briefly reunited with the Scarecrow before the Gnome King suddenly turns him into an ornament. It's like very quickly she's like, "Oh, Scarecrow," and the Gnome King immediately just like, "You're an ornament."
Yeah. Hey! Ah!
Also, what the hell's wrong with the Scarecrow?
What do you mean?
His face.
Oh, see, now you're going back to the original film. You're comparing apples to oranges here, and oranges are clearly superior.
Why would they use that face?
I don't know. Apparently, it's supposed to be. That's how he looks in the
But that
book,
was like the
apparently.
art in the original books,
Yeah.
I think.
I think that's exactly how it's supposed
I'm
to
not
look.
saying it was the correct choice, maybe in the end, but I think that's what they were going for.
Yeah, does his mouth even move in this? I don't think his
I don't
mouth
think so.
moves.
Oh, it's like a permanent
Why
smile.
wouldn't they just put
It's kinda weird.
get a guy in there like without a mask? I mean, the original cover of the book does not have that crazy ass face. It's just a normal Scarecrow face, like from the movie.
We need you, the listener, to look up some deep
It's
Scarecrow
crazy.
art.
So he gets turned into an ornament. Dorothy begins to cry, saying it wasn't Scarecrow who took the emeralds, and that they were already there when he became king. So she's kind of like upset about that. Obviously, it's not Scarecrow's fault. He's just a placeholder or any politician in charge.
He's a puppet.
Where are you going with this?
Hey, what kind of podcast is this?
Hey, you know what? Read the goddamn story. Thanks.
Just move on, buddy. All right.
All right. Excuse me.
So the Gnome King suddenly reappears. And again, he's even looking more human-like. He starts to console Dorothy, who's crying. He then offers to cheer her up by having her play a game with her remaining friends, who all suddenly just, appear down there with her. He explains the game. Taking turns, each one of Dorothy's group has 3 chances to guess which ornament in his collection is the Scarecrow. They have to say the word Oz as they touch the ornament. He also says there's a risk in playing this game, but doesn't specify what that is. So again, they have to go in one at a time. They have 3 chances to pick an ornament, figure out which one the Scarecrow is. They have to say Oz as they touch it. He makes the Gump go in first. So he kind of waddles along with his couch body.
Dude, the waddling, yeah. The waddling of TikTok is the best. But
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
it's hilarious.
Yeah, the way he walks.
During this time, so like the Gump goes through a wall, like these stone hands open up and then close behind him. The Gnome King offers food and drinks to the others. And I remember as a kid, those little cakes that he gives them look so freaking good. They're like limestone cakes, and he says like the drink they're drinking is like melted silver or something like that. So all of a sudden, a rumbling occurs and a flash of lights hits. This knocks the group over. Gnome says that the Gump had turned into an ornament since his 3 guesses were wrong, and says Jack has to go next. And again, remember, Bellina is still in Jack's head. A thunderclap happens again, meaning that Jack is turned. Gnome, whose appearance becomes more and more human as time goes on, says TikTok must go next.
Also, are the thunderclaps reality caving back in?
Right.
think about it.
Is this when she's getting shocked, maybe? Oh, so sorry. So they didn't know. Again, this is the risk that he mentioned that earlier that he didn't explain. So the risk is that they will get turned into an ornament if they get their 3 guesses wrong. So Dorothy kind of starts freaking out about this. At this point, Gnome reveals they is Dorothy's ruby slippers, claiming they fell from the sky, and their power is what helped him conquer the Emerald City. One of the minions of the Gnome King alerts him that the TikTok stopped picking. Dorothy believes this is because she didn't wind up his action thing all the way.
Also, as they turn into ornaments, the other guys, the Gnome King's like getting more human.
Yes, yeah. Again,
he looks like total garbage.
He looks like they just glued a bunch of rocks to his forehead.
Why wouldn't they just leave him as a normal, like the rock guy looks so cool.
Styrofoam, not even rocks.
Well, because they gotta animate that, and it takes
I know, but it
forever.
looks so much better than that old dude.
Listen, we don't have the technology yet. This is 1985, everyone.
But like, it's just it looks so much better. That guy, they're like this old guy that had some white in his face and some gray in his face. Was like, okay, it's so bad.
I wonder if the actor was like, I want to be in it. I don't want to just be a voice.
Yeah, yeah.
He kind of sounded like Mufasa before he turned into the guy.
Ooh, James Earl Jones?
Yeah. He sounded like James Earl Jones. I thought it was him whenever he was talking, like when they were he was talking before he turned into the guy.
Speaking of voices, I kept listening to the Gump's voice, and this voice sounds familiar, and I tried looking up who it was. I didn't recognize it. I know he's done a bunch of voice acting stuff, but I found he reminds me of a voice that was done by the people that did those fake G.I. Joe PSAs.
Oh
yeah, Fensler film.
Yeah. So Gnome King's like, hey, you can go in there and wind him up, and then you could go make your picks in there as well. As she's walking up there, he's like, well, either you can go in there and help out, maybe be turned into an ornament, or with my ruby slippers that I have now, I can bring you back home, but your friends have to stay here. She's like, no, I'm going to go and help my friends. Dorothy finds TikTok, who's only pretending to be not wound up. He says that he has only one guest left. He saw this as a chance to help them in the game. With the last guest, if he guesses wrong, Dorothy can see what TikTok turns into, thus allowing her to figure out who how to figure out
his friends are similar.
Yes, yeah. They have a kind of a little like nice back and forth. TikTok begins to cry, which is interesting because earlier on he's like, I don't have feelings and all that kind of stuff.
He knows now why you cry.
He grew.
He makes his third guesses wrong. Lightning strikes. Did Dorothy see what he turned into? Because like I feel like she didn't because of
that was the point.
Yeah. So then Dorothy just decides to close her eyes, spin around, and just walk in one direction with her eyes closed.
That was really dumb.
Yeah,
that was
really
like
dumb.
so stupid.
I was like, what?
Again, someone that's being electrically shocked in the brain.
Yeah,
they might involuntary.
Because she already made her first. Sorry, she already made her first and second guess. And I was like, I'll just close my eyes, spin my eyes, and just walk in one direction. She hits a table, starts to grab one thing, then sees a green emerald sitting next to it. She's like, I'll try this. She says Oz, and the scarecrow appears.
Why would they do like? It's such a stupid thing of like, okay, just pick a green thing.
Right.
Oh, Emerald City. Okay, like it's such a weird thing.
So
did we distract you enough with the mountain?
So her Scarecrow realized that all of her other friends must be green objects. Anger that Dorothy is now winning and that Mombi let her escape, he imprisons Princess Mombi. Dorothy and Scarecrow then release the Gump. But the king's anger starts an earthquake, and he suddenly appears very large in the room with them, surrounded by fire. Like he's breaking down the walls.
He's really upset.
Almost demonic looking.
Yeah.
During this earthquake, Scarecrow catches a green vase that's about to fall. They realize it must be one of their friends, so they release Jack from that one. Then the Gnome King decides the game's over. He grabs the couch from Gump. They are like trying to get Gump, like save Gump, but like he grabs a couch off of it. He swallows it. He then attempts to do the same thing with Jack, but they all try to flee. He eventually does get Jack. Remember, again, Bellina is in Jack's head. So he gets Jack. He's about to drop it in his mouth. Bellina freaks out and lays an egg. This is where we find out why the chicken is such a big issue.
Ex machina.
The egg falls into the Gnome King's mouth, who's very big. We discover that chicken eggs are poisonous to gnomes. This explains the whole concern over chickens being in Oz.
So stupid.
They're just dropping knowledge at the end of the film, man. That's all.
Get egged.
So the king swallows it. I think he's dead. I don't know because he's supposed to be in all these other books. But by killing him, the mountain starts to collapse all around them. Dorothy, I don't remember how she got the ruby slippers back, but she has them on her feet all of a sudden.
I don't know when they just showed up. They just showed up again.
Yeah, she has them on her feet, so she makes a wish to get them out of there to safety.
She's tripping again.
Yeah. She wished for everyone to be restored to life who was turned to stone, and she wishes for the Emerald City to return to its former glory. So they get teleported outside the Emerald City. They realize that, they didn't save TikTok. But they discover on one of Gump's antlers, there's a green metal, like a service-looking metal, and they're like, that must be TikTok. So Dorothy puts her hand on it and says, Oz, which restores TikTok. A parade is held for Dorothy and her friends in this new revitalized Emerald City. With her in the scene are the Cowardly Lion and Tin Man. At the end of the procession, they're in the room where Mombi was, in that original room with like the mirrors. And then everyone shouts for Dorothy to be the new Queen of Oz. She turns it down, saying she has to go back home to Kansas.
So one thing in this part of the movie, it's not really well known, but like a lot of the people in the like party or whatever are people from the books.
Oh, really?
Like, because there's like
in the background, you mean?
Like a lot of the people standing there. There's like one guy called I was trying to remember the Braided Man. It's just the interview scene. He's like an old guy with all these braids in his beard and like things like that. And Captain Bill, and they're just all these characters. There's like 40 characters or major characters from all the books, and he's just in there. They're like all in there apparently if you can find them. But it's like such a stupid thing they did to just like go into all this extra effort to like jam all that stuff in there.
Like a little Easter egg. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, but I mean, most people don't even know. Probably wouldn't even know it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Dingle Dipper was in the background there.
Dingle Dipper?
Yeah, Dingle Dipper.
He's a big character in the rest
Big Nostril Bob showed up.
Yeah.
Also, Dr. Nicky Dick, which he's the guy actually who invented the powder of life. I swear to God, I just found that out. I was trying to figure out what was this whole powder of life was.
Oh, all right. So it wasn't Oz himself.
Dr. Nicholas Dick, is that his name?
Dr. Nicholas Dick reporting for duty.
I forgot to mention that the one main wheeler, the guy does the voice of Noid. Do you guys remember Noid from the Domino?
Noid, hell yeah.
He does look like the fucking Noid.
He is the Noid.
He looks, apparently his appearance was taken for that.
I'm annoyed.
And his voice was used for the Noid.
Avoid the Noid.
Avoid that actor.
So they asked Dorothy to be Queen of Oz. She turns it down. She's like, I have to go back home.
Why would you go back home? They're trying to shock your face off. They should just stay there. She'd be a queen. Stupid.
She then states she wishes she could be in both places at the same time, making her ruby slippers glow. I think Bellina points out that in one of the mirrors, there's someone in it.
Also, real quick, Bellina was like, I'm not going back there. That place sucks.
Well, yeah, I was getting there. I was getting there, man.
They're going to eat me.
I was getting there.
My bad.
So yeah, Dorothy looks in the mirror and she realizes it's the same little girl that she escaped the sanitarium with. But this time the girl is very elegantly dressed like she's royalty. She has a headdress on that says Oz on it. The girl asks Dorothy to help her step through the glass, and when Dorothy asks her name, she says her name is Ozma.
Fun fact, Corey Taylor of Stone Sour wrote that one song about this part. I'm looking at you through the glass. That one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No.
No. if you listen to that song with this movie playing, it follows it.
Yeah, it syncs up with it, that whole album.
If you listen to Corey Taylor's solo album where he raps, you'll get really mad and want to kick something.
Yeah. It syncs up with the Wheeler part only.
Yeah.
Yeah, just watch that, the Wheeler part, and then slam your face off your television.
She said her name is Ozma. Jack shouts that she's his real mom, and he faints. So yeah, I forgot to mention earlier in the film, Jack was like, asked Dorothy if he could call her mom. So then I was like,
he calls her mom the entire movie.
Yeah, he's like, oh, that's my real mom.
Yeah, screw you, fake Dorothy. Mom. I'm out of here.
You cuckoo lady. Then from the crowd, two women whose heads were taken by Mombi. They were two of the ones that, the dancing ladies. They state that this girl's the rightful heir to Oz. Her father was king before the wizard ruled. So they mentioned that the wizard, who was, the titular character of the previous film, ruled after this girl's dad ruled. They also say that the Gnome King promised Mombi 30 heads if she kept Ozma a secret. So she casts a spell sealing her in that mirror. Ozma decides not to punish Mombi since Dorothy took away her powers with a wish, which I don't remember that being a thing.
Oh, right.
Dropping, again, this film does that a lot.
Yeah.
Just drops rules.
Yeah. Ozma.
I think it just edits stuff in. Like they edited stuff out.
Ozma now, who's now in possession of the slippers, sends Dorothy home. Dorothy starts freaking out. She's like, I thought I would have more time. Belena's like, no, I'm staying. Kansas sucks.
Yeah.
I forget the wording was. She's like that. I think she basically says like Hobunk Town or something like that. Yeah. A bright light starts like kind of filling up the whole place. So she's like, why is it getting so bright? And Princess Ozma's just like staring at her with like a dead face, which I thought was kind of creepy. Which is really weird.
I'm sorry, this part of your brain is shutting down.
And they all turn to skeletons real quick for like one frame.
Yeah. So again, is this another example of like the electric shock therapy? Is this really happening? We cut to Dorothy awakening back in Kansas, laying next to the river that had originally carried her away. Toto discovers her, and then Uncle Henry and Aunt Em and others come by. Auntie Em states that the sanitarium was struck by lightning and burned down. Everyone survived except for Dr. Worley, who apparently went back in for his machines. And then I thought it was where Nurse Wilson is seen locked up in the back of a buggy being taken away.
Yeah.
That
was weird.
Why?
Did they say why? That was
No.
It had to be like abuse, like that type. You were probably just like one of those like
Uncovered some stuff.
Yeah.
Well, they were probably like, well, maybe this isn't so good.
Yeah. All these guys were locked in the basement screaming.
Right. Yeah. That's the patients that broke or whatever they said. Something crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Those were the tests.
Yeah.
So back home, Dorothy and her family, you could tell that their homes made a bunch of progress. Dorothy in her room sees Queen Ozma in her mirror with Belena. Belena has like a medal on, it looks like. Apparently this is supposed to signify that Dorothy knew this wasn't all a dream. The fact that she's seeing Princess Ozma in the mirror. But then she's like, hey, Auntie Em, come here. And Princess Ozma's just like, shh, don't say anything because I think you're crazy.
Because they're just going to shock you.
Yeah. So she just kind of like plays it off.
But they also don't really. She could be crazy and seeing that in the mirror.
Of course, yeah, exactly.
That's the point. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Em tells her to go outside. It's a nice day to go outside and play with Toto. So Dorothy runs outside, and then she gets hits by a car. The end.
That's the post credits scene.
She just dies. No, that's it. So yeah, was this real? Is it not? I mean, I don't know.
Jordan, you said you like TikTok, right?
Yeah, he's great.
Did you know there's a 1914 book that's called TikTok of Oz, and it's like his story?
No.
It's like Frank Baumbach wrote it. It's the eighth book in the series.
Is there a graphic novel about that?
No.
I need
Why?
pictures.
There's so many
I
books.
want pictures.
Also, is there like a recently Oz movie came out recently, like a major one?
Oh, yeah.
Oz the Great and Powerful.
What the hell was that one
James
about?
Franco. It's about the wizard.
Sam Raimi
himself.
did that movie
Yeah.
too.
Was it like a prequel or something?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. It was before he became the Great and Powerful Oz.
And now they're doing like a movie based on Wicked, like whatever that Broadway show was.
Yeah.
Which is another prequel.
Is that Oz? That's
Wicked?
Oz, yeah.
The Wicked Witch.
All right, now we're going to go into the feedback section of this episode here. Where we're give our feedback. We're going to say yes or no yet. We're just going to give a feedback of what we thought of the movie. And Jordan, do you want to go first?
Feedback wise, I liked rewatching it as an adult. I think it still holds up for the most part. I did notice this time around there's some things I missed that I liked more of this time, like small little details, but there's also things that certain things that like plot points. It's kind of like we mentioned a few times with this, like how did she get her slippers back? Why is, they don't mention why the nurse is locked up. Obviously, as a viewer, you're like, oh, she's locked up. She's a terrible person, but they don't really say why. So some certain things that kind of fell through the cracks, but I think it's a great movie. Still, I still find it terrifying. I like that it's dark too.
Brian, do you want to go next? Talk about what your feedback is on the movie Return to Oz?
Sure. It was definitely like, I really wanted to see it again only because it was so hard to see it as a child. Like I said to Jordan earlier, I don't know how he viewed it again and again because apparently that movie, because it was a box office bomb, Disney did that thing where, well, we're not going to release it on video. You have to wait for the vault to open. It's just like, well, f- you guys. But yeah, it was really hard to see as a child. I didn't see it on VHS or anything, but seeing it now and seeing like the glimpses that I remembered from as a kid, like especially at the Mombi Hall with all the heads, like the mirrors, and just like really cool imagery in this film. It was just it may not have been the best acted film, but visually it's definitely worth watching, I think.
Jeff, what do you have to say about The Return to Oz? And have you seen this one before? I couldn't remember.
I have not seen this before. No, this is my first viewing. I had heard of it, but I don't know why. I just never watched it. But yeah, I would say it definitely was made in the 80s, which is a thumbs up thing for me. It was very cool. Like it just reminded me of, like Neverending Story, those kind of like fantasy movies in the 80s that were just awesome, and they aren't around anymore, so it was like taking me back in that regard. The practical effects were really cool, all of the puppets and stuff, as goofy as they were, it was neat. And the story of like the little girl saving the day is kind of cool too. Like despite her being a little girl, she's still very Alice in Wonderland-y. So yeah, I thought it was much different, and I was pleasantly surprised. I feel like I wasn't really sure what to expect, but it wasn't exactly what I saw. So
I also think that it was the imagery, just like Jeff said, the kind of whole imagery of the movie was really good, really awesome. Practical effects were awesome. The story I thought was kind of a little, I don't know, kind of half-assed or like kind of lopsided. It was like some of the parts of it were really interesting. Most of it wasn't very interesting, especially the whole Mombi part, like in her castle. I thought that whole part was just poorly put together from like a kind of a story perspective. Just like, oh, he put his arm through the thing, opened it, and then they built this Gump thing. They flew away. I don't know. That whole thing kind of seemed kind of out of the life potion seemed too convenient, but obviously it's from a book written in 1900s. So I really like the imagery, though. I love the animations in it. I think that was some of the best stuff. Just the whole Gnome King until he became not animated, I guess. When that's where I kind of lost me on that. But I like the story I like the story based on. I like the whole idea of the story. While I didn't like how it was put together or acted for the most part of it, I like the whole. I guess what's it called, like the
structure of it.
No, like just that it was him stealing back his emeralds and stuff. That whole kind of, I don't know what you would call that in a movie.
Plot point, really, or
like
just
the
like
main plot point. Like why he was who he was or why he did that was because he was trying to get back his stuff. And that makes total sense. Teaches little kids not to steal stuff, I guess, too. But I think the overall plot point was awesome. The Gnome King was awesome. I thought that part was cool, but the whole first half of the movie just kind of lost me. It was very dark in the beginning too. How the little girl gets lost and the one girl just apparently, he was like, did she just die? The Ozma girl at the beginning, did she just die? It was crazy for a kid's movie because you're like, what the hell happened to that little girl? But let's go around now and say, if we give it a thumbs up, thumbs down, let's give it our rating for Return to Oz. Jordan, yes or no? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Thumbs up for sure.
Thumbs up.
I know you guys mentioned the visuals. I will say I think it was. Can't remember exactly for what, but it was nominated. It was nominated for an Oscar, something to do with the visuals. So let's put that out there.
I mean, 85. Given those kind of visuals, I mean that's just like the animations. And
the gnome
stuff
thing
awesome.
I thought was really really cool in that how they did that.
Yeah.
But yeah, thumbs up.
Brian, what do you say?
I'd say thumbs up only because if you're a fan of the original, this movie's worth watching once just because of how weird it is, really. Thumbs up.
Jeff.
I'm going to give it the old thumbarooski up. I thought it was pretty cool. Took me back to better days. And, it was a real ragtag group of adventurers saving the day. And even though him being poisoned by an egg was weird, it checks out. So, yeah, thumbs up. It was fun to watch.
I'm going to say for me, I'm not going to give it a thumbs up. I just didn't think the story was that good. But the imagery was good, like the visuals was awesome, but I didn't really care for the story. I won't watch it again. I'm not going to tell my kids to watch it or tell others to watch it, but I do think it's
Jesus
good 80s movie. You know,
You, Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan, how do you feel about that?
for me, I won't watch it. I don't know. It just wasn't for me. I don't like the whole, like I said, the story was kind of convoluted for me, but I did like the imagery, the visuals. I wish I'd give it like a 0.5 or something, like a halfway, but we don't have halfies. So.
Oh wait, Chris, did you read the graphic novel for this?
Yes.
Did you like that?
But it's not, it's split into two stories.
Okay.
One of them has a boy, the main character is a boy with the pumpkin guy.
Oh, wow.
And one is the girl that is Dorothy, and she's in a different world called Eve.
Okay.
And she's with just TikTok, her and TikTok and Belina.
Oh, wow.
And I think the enemy in this one is Mombi, and the other one, it's the Mountain King guy.
Yeah, I think they might have tried to do too much in one movie by combining the two books. I still like it though. I still like it. There are some shortcomings, but I still like it.
I'm happy for you.
Thanks.
Next episode, Jeff, I believe it's your choice, correct?
It is. And I picked a movie that I've never seen, but is infamous, I feel, for the wrong reasons. And that movie is Dragon Ball Evolution. So that's what we're going to be checking out next week.
Sacrilege.
It should be interesting. I can't imagine giving it a thumbs up, but we'll see.
So to be clear, is this a anime?
No, this
It's
is
a live action
interpretation of Akira Toriyama, R.I.P. to the king. His work Dragon Ball, which was a manga and then an anime, obviously. So we'll see. It definitely, I watched the trailer because I was like, I don't even remember what this looked like. I didn't even bother seeing it as a person who was and still is a fan of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. I was like, I'm not watching this. So
what year was it made?
Oh, I don't know. Let's look it up.
I'm going to say 2012.
Yeah, everyone take a guess. Take a guess while I look it up.
Hot 08.
85.
So wait, we had 2012, we had 2005, what else?
08.
I'd say 90s.
No, not the 90s. It's 2009.
Close.
Brian, you win.
I don't want anything. This film.
Yeah, none of us are winning.
Let's just put it this way. The guy who played Goku, I'm looking at his name right now, Justin Chatwin. When Akira Toriyama passed away, he posted like a heartfelt thing, and he also said sorry for making this movie. So, so it should be a good one.
Anyway, thank you guys all again for being here. Thank you, Jeff.
Hey.
Thank you, Brian.
Oh.
Thank you, Jordan.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Brian.
Oh,
there it is. And we will see you next time on the Watch Pals. Set your watches. Goodbye.
Watch your ass.
Put your glasses on. See you later.
Good night, everybody.
Put your glasses on.
Stopping.